Bro, like, a light bulb just appeared above my head today. Like, what, uh, like, gain leads to more gains, and loss leads to greater loss. And I'm not sure exactly what it was said, but it was in the master key. And for some reason, out of pure coincidence, I had a video open about Jordan Peterson, what he says about addiction, and I watched it, and coincidentally, it connected exactly to the first passage of part one in the master key of more gathers more and loss leads to greater loss. And Jordan Peterson phrased it like this, like, he said it's the Matthew principle because it's actually originally from the Bible. um like, he said that improvement that is incremental leads to like exponential, like, when you improve incrementally meaning like little by little, like a constant amount, little by little, the result is actually going to be exponential. And that's how like evolution works in all of nature. And it connects back to what I said yesterday about it, like, um, being like in video games, you know. In video games, when you start out, you barely have anything and you're like living on scarcity. And the more you gather, the easier it is to gather even more, you know. The more powerful you get, the easier it gets to become even more powerful. You know, like, you like, at the beginning you have like five, I don't know, you have five soldiers, and to get one soldier takes like hours and lots of effort. But then later in the game you have like 50 soldiers, and gaining one soldier is like super cheap and super easy. Okay, let me take this path because it's shorter. But yeah. And then, yeah, I really understood that, but I didn't really know what loss leads to greater loss means, because I couldn't really find an example of that being the case. Because I found that it's not exactly like what I would think it is. But in a way, like, of course, things going shit in your life lead to them going even shittier. Like, if you got addicted to a drug, that's one loss. It will lead to greater losses. It will fuck up the relationship with your family, blah blah blah. So it goes the opposite direction. And like, what this actually feels like in reality is like, when you work towards something big, it always feels like hopeless. I think that's from this passage it started to kind of click in me, like, why this really is the way it is. I mean, I kind of knew this before somewhere, but I quite forgot it somewhere. Like, I was like, man, this is hopeless, and I don't know where this is going. But and even though I kind of had that in my mind, that even though it's hopeless, like, even though it's hopeless, that's how success is like. It starts with hopelessness, you know. But I couldn't even say that for sure. But now it feels a little more certain, because, like, it's not like incremental improvement leads to exponential results, right? And when I say exponential, I really mean exponential. I mean, like, I can work like 3 hours, 3 months straight, and make like €0. It's like zero money. You know, like, I'm not talking like, okay, maybe €50 or something, you know. But it's really hard. I really find it hard to put what I'm thinking about in words right now, regardless of English being my easiest language. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. Like, language doesn't really matter in general. Like, for all intents and purposes, all my three languages are basically like almost the same. I guess it depends on what I'm trying to say. But there's like some things that I want to say come easier in one language out of the three, and harder in another language, you know? So, yeah, that, like, It's because like my life is in scarcity right now. It's like even more like it's even more extreme than video games because real life, as I said, it's the ultimate video game. So it's like all the video games in existence, but except like multiplied by a billion. Like real life is like the most. So implicitly, real life is also the most exponential thing there is. Like it's incomparable how exponential it is when you compare it to video games. Like in video games, when you start out, you are in scarcity, but it's like it's not that bad, you know. But in real life, you really start from zero, like zero, not 0.1 or something. Okay, it's kind of loud in here. Talk to you later. Okay, so depression leads to more depression. Money leads to more money. Language acquisition is also exponential and respects this law. It's like, you know, like if you speak English, chances are you do if you're watching this video. Like, the thing is, the better you speak English, the more English you end up learning, because if you, that's kind of the reason why most people just speak one language and that's their native tongue, because like that their native tongue is at a point of so much abundance. And all other languages are at a point of extreme scarcity. Like you don't even know like any word. And like the first years of my like Japanese exposure, the first about 3 years, I spoke nothing. I understood basically nothing. Then the fourth year, all of a sudden I started understanding a lot. Then the fifth year I was basically fluent. You know, it's not like incremental like this. You know, it's super exponential. And I think like that might be the case for everything else in life. You know, if this loss leads to greater loss and gain leads to higher gain, I think is a thing. You know. Yeah. But this leads to a bit of a paradox. Like, if loss leads to greater loss and gain leads to higher gain, then it means that if you're on a loss spiral, if you're like in the point of scarcity, right, in your life, how are you supposed to get from scarcity to abundance if your scarcity is going to just lead to more scarcity? Like, because that sounds like a bit of a paradox to me. What's the catch? How I mean, people do get from scarcity to abundance, right? All the time. I mean, if I am to find like a pragmatic example, like I don't know, the only thing which I would call like a success story in my life, which is not even a success story, because like in my opinion, speaking a language is not a big deal. You just like hypnotize yourself into being a little child that is like a baby and that watches anything and has fun without understanding absolutely anything. And it's a fun experience. It's not like, because like success implies like hard work and all that. No, my Japanese thing was just about fun, bro. I was just having fun. And okay, maybe it started from a point of abundance then, because like even though like my Japanese was in scarcity when I was like 5 or 6 years ago, maybe I had abundance in my head because like it means that anything is fun to watch. I don't quite get it, honestly. It's a bit of a like it's a bit hazy in my head. Okay, I'm just gonna go read. I'm probably gonna read The Power of Now right now. I'm just going to the library of this like mall. This Electro Putere. Very weird mall name, but it's a cool mall. And I'm just going to read The Power of Now, I guess, or some other books that I find. Then I also have the Master Key System on me. I'm gonna go to the park and read the Master Key System after I don't want to read anymore. But like, yeah, I guess this scarcity and abundance law also applies to like knowledge from books, because like I can read every single day, read like pages upon pages, and feel like I learned nothing. Then all of a sudden, just one day, a lot of things just connect with each other, and I just have like this aha moment, you know? I think it's like these aha moments that are like this, what Jordan Peterson said, that incremental improvement leads to exponential gains. Because like if you look at a flower in fast forward, like you fast forward its growth, right? It's not like the flower slowly gets bigger and bigger, right? It's more like it goes like this. That all of a sudden a leaf appears, then a leaf appears here. All of a sudden, then boom, 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 and just it's all of a sudden like that. Or like the bamboo tree that is like for 99% of its lifetime, it's like invisible, and then all of a sudden in like the span of like like a couple days, it just instantly becomes huge, you know, because like its progress was invisible because it was like its roots were going through the earth and you cannot see that. That's what it was doing, you know. Maybe it's also this law, but it's really hard to understand. My question is, if loss leads to greater loss and gain leads to higher gain, then how do you go from loss to gain? It sounds like a paradox to me, because like loss is just going to lead to greater loss. Another thought that popped in my mind is like, maybe this is why the concept of hell and the concept of heaven are like the way they are, because like you either exponentiate into the worst or exponentiate into the greatest, into the best. Like you either exponentiate into the absolute worst possible state or absolute best possible state, maybe in the end, if death represents completion, as Jose said. But then again, I don't know, I'm just saying these things, but it's just thoughts, man. I'm not like, nothing of what I'm saying is like right now is like clear to me. I guess that's just the way it is. All right, see you another time, I guess. Okay, I didn't really want to like continue the recording in here because like I'm not sure if I'm even allowed to inside the mall, and it's a bit loud everywhere, so I'm not even sure if you can hear my voice. But like I just had an aha moment while I was going on the stairs, right? Like like in my question was, how do you go if loss leads to greater loss and gain leads to higher gain? Then how do you go from loss to gain? You know, that was my question. And I think I already have the answer, because like this has already happened countless times in my life in video games, right? In video games, you always go from a place of scarcity to a place of gain. Even though like scarcity is supposed to lead to higher scarcity, you still go from loss to gain. Like in Terraria, you start with nothing. In Minecraft, you start with nothing and you end up in abundance, like in the end game. In Terraria, especially, you know, the same thing. It kind of depends on also how the game is designed, how much that would be pronounced. But I think in real life, it's like more pronounced than in any other game in existence, you know? And it's also about skill, you know, you go from a place of scarcity of skill to abundance of skill. So how does that happen? Because like I have countless times like gone from scarcity to abundance in video games. I guess that the only time that happened, this was the kind of aha moment that is like I saw like in the moment that I started the game in scarcity, I had a vision in my mind about how I'm going to end up in abundance, and from that vision of my mind, loss turned into gain, and I became from scarcity to abundance, you know. And this means that like even though you're in a place of loss, if you do just one shift in your thought, or your thought to be focused on gain, then even though you're physically in loss, you're actually going to end up in abundance, because you're actually starting to attract abundance even though you have none of it, because abundance starts in your mind, you know? That's my theory that I made right now, but it's a bit, I don't know. Like it felt like a bit of an aha moment at first, but it's a bit more complicated than that, because like for you to get, because I can also imagine like a Terraria player does, or like a video game player does, like a noob, and they start with scarcity and they just end up with scarcity, you know. They don't go to gain because they're noobs, right? So those noobs are not envisioning the abundance to begin with, right? They're not envisioning it, so they don't get there. But it's very complicated, because by just playing the game, you end up from the state of noob to pro, and when you end up to the state of noob to pro, you can visualize abundance, and then abundance comes because you attract it, right? But this makes it a lot more complicated, because that means you start with abundance and with scarcity and thoughts of scarcity, and you end up with abundance and thoughts of abundance. My God, this is so complicated if you try to think about it, you know? Maybe I'm just overthinking this. Maybe I should just like just get a feel for it, just a kick for it, instead of trying to like explain to myself everything so precisely. But you know, I also want to understand things precisely, because you know, one day I might have people that rely on me, you know, I have people that call me a leader and are looking for me for guidance. So I gotta be strong for them. I gotta always give them the command. I gotta always give them the orders. that lead to results. You know, if I want to be a leader, I gotta always know to tell them what to do. You know, and tell them what nobody else will tell them. You know. Okay, let's just go and read. I'm just gonna go to the library right now. It's right here. Skarturest is called. It's like bookstore. Yeah, but it's like you can read books for free, and they're good books, like modern books. So it's like amazing. I'm so grateful that we have such a thing. You know. All right. Okay, I started reading The Power of Now again, and I have read it like 1 year ago. Like not it fully just come to a certain point. I don't know, like probably 40 pages or something, and I don't know, man. The words like in that, like I feel, when I read it, like I feel there's something up with it. Like there's, I feel a very, I feel a lot of power in the words written in that book. I don't quite get it yet. I feel like it's targeting something deep inside me that is like, it's like hidden and into clutter. But like, even though I don't quite get it right now, get it meaning like not with my mind, but with something deeper inside of me, something beyond that. Like, but for some reason I feel like it's very, very, very powerful. Like my eyes got a little bit watery as I read it. Not quite crying, but like almost a little bit watery. And yeah, like I just bought it. Like even though I had no money, I had to ask my mom, embarrassingly enough, to put some money on my account. Like 80 lei is like, I don't know, like 13 euros or something, but it's like, yeah, we're in, I'm living in scarcity right now, but man, just, I really like, my hands almost started shaking as I was reading it. Like I feel so much power in that book. It's just insane. Like I get the very, very, a lot of power in those pages. It's really hard to describe. Like when you read something and it feels like, even though you don't quite get it, it feels powerful. Like very, very powerful. It's as if something is speaking from above or something. But yeah, like, what if the master key system, the power of now, Eben Alexander's afterlife story, what if they're all connected in some way? And connected, maybe just not even connected. What if they're talking about the same thing from different angles and different perspectives? But yeah, like, it was the last copy of the book, and because I took the book, the counter, and I was like, can you tell me if you have another copy of this book, or is this the last copy? And she said it's the last copy in the bookstore. And she said that if you want, I can buy some copies for you, like if you want to buy multiple copies, and they will arrive in like 3 or 4 days. After reading a little bit of it, I figured like this stuff cannot wait 3 or 4 days. Even though I'm in financial scarcity, and even though it's a bit difficult, this cannot wait 4 days. This cannot wait any longer, and this book cannot stay away from me any longer. I have to have this book with me and very close to me and accessible to be read at any time. I feel like it's an urgency. Like I need to wake up. I need to wake up from this dream that is my thoughts. Like, because like I don't know. I'm not sure. Like, because like I feel like if I notice it, like thoughts are kind of like dreaming. Like, you know, when you're dreaming, that when you slip into, like, what at that moment when you're kind of slipping into falling asleep, right? That's kind of the way thoughts feel. And I think, like, if I remember correctly, it's why the Waking Up app is called the Waking Up app, right? But this man, Eckhart Tolle, like I've read from an article that he's one of the only like 8 people on Earth that are like public to the like are available to the public eye and are actually enlightened. Such a weird experience, man. But like when that man, in the beginning of the book, he said that he was suicidal and depressed, and he was seeing so much hostility from every single thing around him, the furniture, the train. Okay, when I try to describe it, it sounds stupid, but he really wrote it, and I felt like I kind of understand him. Like sometimes I do feel like the world is like hostile against me, even though there's no particular like logical reason behind it. It's just something you feel. I'm not sure if you can hear me from here. I'm just gonna walk here, but yeah, I bought it on a whim, and I think, oh, the bus came. See you on the other side. I remember telling you at some point that it's impossible for there to not be an afterlife because consciousness has no beginning and no end. I mean, not necessarily afterlife, but like for 100 billion% there will not be nothing, after death, because nothing doesn't make any sense. But right now, I mean, I do think I had that revelation at some point, but during meditation or whatever, like, I don't know, half a year ago or something, I don't know, or more than a year ago probably. But like, because my fear of death has stopped at a certain point, it is 100% certain that more or less I had that meditative insight. But right now, I'm not so sure. It's really weird. Like, even though I have probably like over 10,000, over 12,000 minutes of meditation on Medito, that's just on Medito. And like, I've meditated a lot. Lots and lots of meditation. Like, started like 1 year and a half ago. It's June 2022. It's like 1 year and a half, basically. Almost 2 years at some point. And I still feel like a beginner. I still feel like I haven't even got the basics right. I still feel like I'm still mindless, I'm still lost in thought, I still, it's not like, I don't understand like these people that like, you tell them to meditate once for the first time and they were like, I felt inner peace or something. Like I remember like one time, my Lithuanian friend Mafarozo, he's like the social dude and the popular dude and the cool dude and tall and strong, and basically he's like, Chad kind of thing. And I told him to meditate once, try meditating once. And I got the response from him after he genuinely tried meditating once for the first time in his life. And his response was like, I felt inner peace. It was amazing. What? It's not supposed to go like that. You're supposed to feel nothing, or maybe even feel miserable, or maybe even be like, not have patience and just not be able to do more than 3 seconds. Like, I find it hard to believe he's lying, but like, what the fuck, But for me, like, I've been meditating for 1 year and a half continuously, and I still feel like many times what I end up doing is just sitting and being lost in thought. And because it's weird, because maybe my mind is really, really tangled, because like, if I like become mindful for 1 second, like I cut the chain of thought and I return to the present moment, like, then I will get thoughts about being in the present moment, and then I will get thoughts about being, then I will get thoughts about being in the present moment, then I'll get thoughts about being in the present moment, then I'll get a thought about telling me to stop thinking about thoughts that are thinking about thoughts about the present moment. Like it genuinely goes insane. It genuinely like it's genuine insanity, you know. And it's like so at this point I can't even tell when I'm actually doing well in meditation or not. I can't even tell what's going on most of the time. And at this point, the only thing that I can genuinely like say would be like a hint for me. Like the only thing that makes me tell precisely whether I'm doing good or not. It's not precisely, but like the closest thing I can get to an indicator is like whether my body is moving or not. I can't tell. Like if my body's moving, if I'm like changing my position or like I have OCD, you know, like okay, I have OCD, sounds stupid because it's self-diagnosis. I have this OCD thingy where like this OCD like thingy where like I keep moving my arm because it's never in the right position. This happens with the rest of my body. So when my body is still, it means I'm able to observe bodily discomfort and just let it be that way. You know, so that's why it's for me it's the closest thing I can get to an indicator of whether my meditation is going well or not right now, because like I feel it's really hard to tell. Yeah, I don't know, man, and yeah, I don't know. The power of now is like I've I felt so much like there's so much power like in those words, in those pages. Like, it's so powerful. I'm not even sure if I'm ready for it yet. I guess there's no such thing as being ready for that, but I don't know. It's really, really, really powerful. I cannot. But it's not something that I haven't quite unlocked yet. Salud. Da, merci. Da. Okay, I guess I'll just eat and just go kickboxing. What the fuck is that noise? Did you hear that? I guess it's just some kid. Fucking weirdo.